An older Carmel resident who asked not to be identified in this video recently heard about ghosts of Carmel, Maine. After viewing one of the videos, she immediately recognized the Lamb House. She joined the Ghost of Carmel, Maine Facebook page and said, "I knew when I heard someone was living in that house there would be trouble." Her mother, grandmother, and other family members personally knew of Edmund and Hattie Lamb. In other comments she stated, "My mother would make us hold our breath and look away every time we went past your place when I was a child. We took the conversation privately over to Messenger and she states, I am surprised and dismayed about the number of folks who want to tour the house. It was always shunned and avoided, but I guess times change. It was not just my family, but others who told their kids to hold their breath and look away. Folks said Lamb was part of the Undertaker horror, several mortuary guys who didn't always care if you were dead. Yeah, I mean the old folks knew it, but so few are left. Mom and cousin used to go to the grain hall dance and walk by there in the 50s. She said in the summer the house still smelled." Are family curse spirit attachments real? According to my mother, with my great-grandfather being a 32nd degree Mason, and my dad and his mother's involvement with witchcraft, our family has been cursed by spirit attachments, and my involvement in the paranormal verifies this curse. I told my mother I never practiced talking to the dead like my grandmother or my dad in their younger years. These spirits came to me, seeking help. My mother asked me, "Why did they come to you?" I responded, "Other residents also encountered this activity. They moved out of the house. I don't think they just singled me out." My mother interrupted me and asks, "Why did you stay?" My answer to this, I was amazed by this activity and wanted to study it. She tells me that's the curse. You've been drawn into practicing witchcraft by demonic entities. Her comments hit me like a ton of bricks. These spirit attachments my mother spoke of, is this real? Am I unknowingly following in the footsteps of my grandmother and my dad? I shut down the investigations in the Lamb House. I need time to process this information. I did find it strange my great-grandfather and Edmund Lamb are both Freemasons. Spirits in the Lamb House kept saying Hattie's a witch. Then I find out my grandmother was a witch. Is this all just a coincidence? Did some spirits see there is a spirit attachment to my family? A spirit passed down from the results of witchcraft. There are entities seeking blood, my blood. Do they actually want my blood? Or are they talking about my bloodline? This dilemma plunged me into the darkest hour. I found this so disturbing, I told these spirits I didn't want to hear about blood anymore. Many months pass, I reopened the investigations in the Lamb House working on the Ghost Chronicle series. Spirits kept bringing up Abby, Edmund, Hattie, and blood. Who trapped you in the dark realm? Is Abby white? Some of you are stuck. There's blood down in the basement, one in blood. Did you make a pact with the demon that caused you to be trapped? What do you want with me? What are you wanting from me? Who made the pact with evil? What do you want to say to me? Although spirits claimed Hattie was a witch, I've never came out and said she was. There's never been any proof. But I came across more artifacts that raised a possibility she was a witch. A few weeks ago, while I was taking more pictures under the floor in the upstairs bedroom, in one of the pictures I saw this strange material tucked down in between the wood and the floor joists from underneath the floor. And I ended up pulling up a piece of the floor in the crawl space. I cut it out, and I was able to get to that. The outer material used to wrap up the contents inside this is so old. The material is falling apart. I had to carefully untie the knot. At first I thought maybe there are bones wrapped up in this. It turned out there was another piece of material with artifacts wrapped inside. And it turned out that it was a small, what looked like either a dress to a smaller child, or it could have been a slip. I don't know. You can tell this dress is very old based on the stitching used. And wrapped up in that was a small book, a mini book. The book is titled Paradise Lost, possibly from the late 1800s. And there was an old knife that was pretty much wrapped in an old material. But then there was this jar in it, and it had two pieces of round wooden things in it. It looked like there were some marks on those wooden things. It looked like some type of, I don't know, chips, some type of game pieces that were extremely old, made out of wood. Weeks later, when spirits brought up Blood Witch, I figured this had something to do with blood rituals or blood spells. But when I started looking into blood witches and doing the study into blood witches, when these spirits brought up Blood Witch, I found something on a YouTube channel that literally shocked me to the very core of my soul. The YouTube channel titled Blood Magic and How I Use It. I saw two things she used for the blood spell ritual. This literally sent chills through me. A small glass container or bottle, and this round wood piece with an X on it. During the ritual, she smeared blood on the wood piece. What was found under the floor is verification someone performed blood magic in this house. No doubt a blood witch. Based on the age of these items, I would estimate these items to be 100 years old, or even older. Who was the blood witch and what exactly did they do with these blood ritual items? And who did this dress or slip belong to? The state of Maine, this land goes all the way back to the 1600s. This was part of Massachusetts back in the days during the Salem witch trials. But from the 1600s even up to this day, witchcraft has been prominent here. Blood witchcraft or blood magic is said to be one of the most powerful forms of sorcery. There are different levels of blood witchcraft. 1. Blood is used to cast spells. This is the most common form of blood magic. 2. Blood is used to perform death rituals. This form of witchcraft has everything to do with intent, or why blood is being used in a death ritual, positive or negative. And 3. The darkest form of blood witchcraft is when blood is used to make a pact with demonic entities. This is when blood magic crosses over into satanic rituals. This is not the first time artifacts were found under a floor in the Lamb House. 4 years ago, I found a tied-up piece of material under the floor in the witch's window room. Inside the material was a child's tooth, a 1906 penny. In 1906, the Lamb House was a funeral parlor. Some viewers pointed out this was from a witchcraft spell, possibly involving a child. Back then, I assumed someone's child lost a tooth in 1906. Maybe this was a keepsake. I didn't ask questions and moved on. Then, while filming the Ghost Chronicles series, spirits led me to a skull under the bedroom floor. They said this was Abby's head. Edmund kept it. With Edmund's involvement with the Oddfellows, some members did collect human skulls, and real human remains were used in death rituals. We concluded why Edmund kept Abby's head. 3 feet away from this skull, teeth belonging to a child were found. I was able to cut a section of the floor up in the crawl space to retrieve the teeth. Up against the wall under the floor is where I found these artifacts. Since spirits said I found Abby's head, and they keep bringing up Abby after this find, I can only assume this dress belonged to Abby. I asked these spirits about the dress and the artifacts. Are these devices of witchcraft? Are these devices of witchcraft? There are times it's frustrating using these devices because this equipment always goes off in this house. I don't know if it's from the high energy levels or if spirits are intelligently manipulating these devices in response to my question. I'll do an EVP session first, then a spirit box session to see what these spirits have to say about these artifacts. Was this Abby's dress? Is there any way you guys can verify to me that this belonged to Abby? Was there blood magic used in this house? Who did this dress belong to? Do you believe blood magic, blood witchcraft will set you free? Did somebody make a pact, a ritual with a demon in this house, thinking that they can escape death? There's many times that they kept saying Hattie's a witch. Is Hattie a blood witch? Yes? Hattie, did you practice blood witchcraft? Blood magic? Edmund, did you perform blood rituals in this house? You and Hattie? Based on this physical evidence, I believe Hattie was a witch, and it's likely she was involved with blood witchcraft performing spells. In order to understand these encounters in the Lamb House, I need to understand witchcraft and what's involved. During the studies, I came across something that confirms what's going on in the Lamb House goes way beyond the paranormal into deep supernatural encounters. One thing I came across, the tarot card of death used in witchcraft confirms these artifacts were indeed used for witchcraft. If you notice on the top of the death card, the Roman numeral 13. On the wood chips, there is an X on one chip, 3 lines crossed on the other chip. I believe this is the Roman numeral 13. I also noticed the 3 lines on the chips are designed in such a way there is a small triangle in the middle, 6 triangles pointing to the middle triangle. There are a total of 6 points to each line. By adding the numbers of the triangles and points, the number 13 comes up. In witchcraft, there are different symbols and numbers used. Some of these symbols are the same symbols used by the Oddfellows: triangles, swords, the hand, and the seeth. These are just a few examples out of many. The book with the items, Paradise Lost, is an epic poem, written in blank verses telling the biblical tale of the fall of mankind, the moment when Adam and Eve were tempted by Satan to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, and God banished them from the Garden of Eden forever. Even to readers in a secular age, the poem is a powerful meditation on rebellion, longing, and the desire for redemption. Along with Satan, Eve is the most important character in Paradise Lost. However, in his epic poem Paradise Lost, John Milton illustrates Satan specifically as a tragic hero. According to mythology, some people believe Eve was not the first wife to Adam. Lilith was. Lilith is a female figure in Mesopotamia and Judaic mythology. Alternatively, the first wife of Adam and supposedly the primordial she-demon. Lilith is cited as having been banished from the Garden of Eden for not complying with and obeying Adam. Some theological scholars acknowledge Lilith as the first Eve, while others still see her as a demoness. It is believed Lilith was not only a demon, she was the first witch, the mother of witchcraft, and her name comes up many times in pagan beliefs. Whoa. What? I have found numbers, dates, and mathematical equations play a vital role when encountering supernatural events. 13, the number of death in witchcraft. This number also came up when I first started these investigations. The first official case investigated I conducted was the murder of Naomi Mitchell. Naomi was murdered on July 24th. July, the 7th month of the year, and the 24th day of the month. 7 plus 2 plus 4 equals 13. Naomi was murdered in 1912. 13, the number of death. Did anybody perform blood rituals in this house? Whose blood was used for this ritual? Patty, I need to hear directly from you. Did you practice witchcraft? When I found those artifacts under the floor, once I pulled them out from being bundled in that dress, I opened up that jar and pulled out those wooden chips, and I was examining and touching them. Took the pictures, documented, what each artifact was, and put them in baggies and sealed them up. The next day I woke up, my throat hurt so bad I couldn't even swallow. In fact, I couldn't even talk. I run down to the bathroom, look in the mirror, I hold my cell phone light up, and I'm looking down there, and my whole tonsil is completely shoved over to the other side, touching the other tonsil, and there's this huge lump in my neck. I thought maybe I got some type of infection or virus or something. I mean, maybe this is a bad case of COVID. But it looked bad enough, I called my doctor up, and my doctor said, get to the emergency room now. I go to the emergency room, they look at that, and the first thing that the doctor talked about was cancer. We need to rule out cancer. He said, this doesn't look good. So he sends me into a CT scan from my head all the way down into my chest because my lymph nodes are also swollen in my neck. Down into this area right in here, they were all swollen. That's why he thought for sure that I had some form of cancer. Came back, a CT scans didn't show any cancer, but they showed the swelling in my neck where it was pushing my tonsil to the side. So then he thought, it's an infection, it's something. So they put me on all these antibiotics. I'm laying in the hospital. They did all these blood cultures, ran all kinds of tests, throat cultures. I mean, they were taking so much blood out of me for these blood cultures, and that's a lot of blood taken out. All the tests came back negative. Everything came back negative. I had no infection, no bacteria, nothing. The doctor couldn't explain why this was swollen in my neck, pushing my tonsil. He couldn't explain it. After the swelling went down enough where I was out of danger, I was released from the hospital. And a few days later, everything was back to normal. All the swelling was gone and I felt normal. After looking into blood witchcraft, and these items were definitely used in blood witchcraft, I believe after I touched these items, that had a physical effect on me. I mean, that could have killed me. It was almost borderlines of having epiglottitis, which mainly children get, and that can be fatal. It cuts their airway off. So when these spirits say kill Kent, they want me dead. This incident raised my red flags immediately. But then I started thinking about some other things that's gone on since the day I picked up this camera and started investigating this activity. The very first year they said kill Kent. Why did you guys come to me? What was it about me that you wanted to talk to me? The events that took place in the Lamb House no doubt opened portals into the afterlife and opened a dark portal into pure evil. After being stricken with a strange illness from touching these artifacts, and many times these spirits say, kill Kent, I realize we've been physically attacked since the day we moved into this house, and more so after I started these investigations. Since we moved into this house, I have had multiple bouts of skin cancer. We counted and kept track of this. I've had skin cancer since the day I picked up this camera and started recording. I've had skin cancer 22 times. There are scars all over my body, my face, my head, my arms from multiple bouts of skin cancer. When my brother Mike got skin cancer. The one and only time he got skin cancer, he died from it. When we were filming Demon in the Dark Provoked, during the filming of this video, that's when family contacted me and said my brother's skin cancer was back with a vengeance and he wasn't going to make it. And the skin cancer he had, squamous cell, is the same cancer I got multiple times. It shouldn't be a fatal type of cancer. It's rarely anybody dies from this form of skin cancer. But my brother died from it. When my mother said that our family was cursed, in the beginning I didn't believe that. Based on the encounters in this house, and based on the way these spirits respond to me, I honestly believe that there's some truth behind it. You know, I've never been involved with paranormal stuff, ever. Never even thought about getting involved with paranormal stuff. When we moved into this house, this is when I got involved in it. What do you want to say to me? But with these spirit attachments passing down from one generation to the next, if this is true, I need some type of evidence. I need proof that these attachments do exist. What do you guys want to tell me? What do you want to talk about when it comes down to this blood? What's going? These spirits that are asking for help, do they think I have some type of abilities to help them? Do you believe some type of blood ritual will free you from being trapped? Are you still in this garage? Did you just say something? Cat ball going off. Did you say, yeah, you're here? Abby, are you here? What are you wanting from me to help you? Do you know if there are some kind of spirit attachments to my family? My dad and my grandmother, who both practice doing rituals, contacting the dead, and my grandmother being a witch, she practiced a lot of witchcraft. When you start digging in family history and you come across things that is quite shocking, you wish you never looked into it. When my grandmother was deeply involved with witchcraft in her mid-20s, she ended up becoming pregnant out of wedlock with my dad. We don't know the full story behind it, but all we're told is when she was deeply involved with witchcraft, she got pregnant with my dad. Is my family cursed? What the hell was that? What the hell was that? In real time, this voice that came from the bottom of the steps was loud and clear. I heard Kent, and the voice sounded exactly like my dad's voice. When I heard the voice over the spirit box say, "Your dad," I won't deny this gave me the creeps. Then the voice says over the spirit box, "Rid our guilt," also sounded like my dad's voice. Then "blood demon." Then a voice says, "They made you." This raised a serious question in my mind. Did my grandmother's pregnancy with my dad come from a witchcraft ritual? The things my grandmother and my dad were involved in, were they wanting me to rid their guilt? If so, how? At that moment, I don't know if this was my dad or a demonic entity attempting to lure me into a trap. Only time and more investigations will tell. Do you know if there are some kind of spirit attachments to my family? Was my dad conceived out of witchcraft? So are you saying my dad was conceived out of witchcraft? And this has to do with the blood demon? I have stated in other videos we go into the afterlife with the knowledge and beliefs we had in life. From the 1600s up to this day, witchcraft has been prominent in this area, but there are different levels of witchcraft. The darkest form of witchcraft are those who use blood magic to make pact with demons or Satan. But there is something these spirits said that was vital information. We are here at Kent's house. Abby comes up. A spirit says, we had to. And a voice says, we worship. Get blood. We need it. Took to the master. Then the name Baal comes up. Baal in the English language, Baal in Hebrew, was a demon god to the Canaanites, worshipped by others as well, including the ancient Egyptians. Those who worship Baal sacrificed their children. There's no doubt Edmund's involvement performing death rituals opened a dark portal in this house. I mentioned earlier the Oddfellows and those involved with witchcraft used the same symbols. While comparing these symbols, I saw something that was completely mind-boggling. One of the symbols shows crossed horns with plentiful food coming out of the horns. I don't believe these are food baskets, but are the horns that represent Baal. Baal was the god of fertility, which brought forth an abundance of food. In the center of the horn looks like an altar where the Holy Bible is placed. Throughout the Old Testament, Baal is mentioned many times. When I asked if these spirits knew if there was some kind of spirit attachment to my family, they responded, the blood type. We knew. Listen carefully. A witch, your family, had the power. Blood demon. When asked if my dad was conceived out of witchcraft, they responded, yeah, took the demon. I put blood on his head. When I asked if this had to do with the blood demon, a spirit responded, Satan. That's when they said we are at Kent's house. Then Ball comes up. Everything that's gone on in this house, things that these spirits say about wanting blood, wanting my blood, I'm left to believe that there's no doubt there's some form of spirit attachments. Figured if there's going to be any type of proof that there's some type of curse or spirit attachments on this family, I'm going to see it in the numbers. I'll find it in the numbers somewhere, because strange numbers always come up during deep supernatural encounters. And I looked over the death of my dad and my sister, and what I found is pretty shocking. In my family unit of 6, my dad, mom, my sister Donna, my brothers Daryl and Mike, I am the youngest. My sister Donna was the first to pass away. What I thought was strange, my dad's family unit consisted of 6 as well. His adopted dad, mother, my dad being the oldest sibling, his sister Donna, and 2 younger brothers. In this family unit, his sister Donna was also the first to pass away. My Aunt Donna was the only daughter to my grandmother. My sister Donna was the only daughter to my dad. After taking a close look at my sister's death, what I found was shocking. My sister died suddenly on January 13th, 2019. 13 is the day of her death. She was 58. She died on the first month of the year, 2019. 13 comes up 3 times. Then 1 month after my sister dies, my dad passed away on February 13th at the age of 85. His death was also sudden and unexpected. His time of death was estimated around 1,300 hours. This is also 3 sets of 13. But things get even more strange. After my sister passed away, what would have been her 61st birthday, my brother Daryl was at Mike's house. As he takes a step to go down the long flight of stairs, his leg completely gives out. Daryl tumbles down the stairs, breaking multiple bones. He was in the hospital for weeks. Then 13 months after this incident, my brother Mike passes away. My dad's sister Donna died at the age of 13 from skin cancer, the same form of skin cancer that killed Mike. Now I know the number 13 is not a coincidence. I don't believe Hattie had evil intentions practicing witchcraft. Many times, like Rachel, Hattie has warned me to leave the house. The house is evil. Based on all the paranormal evidence, something very dark happened to Abby. Did Hattie perform a blood ritual trying to help Abby? But something went very wrong. There was things these spirits said. It was like a bright light turned on, and the dark hour came to an end. Knowledge is power. Having an understanding is a weapon to fight evil. It's now time to take a stand. Are family curses or family spirit attachments real? We shall see.